It was a sunny afternoon, and Kevin sat in the living room with his grandmother. The sunlight streamed through the windows, making the room warm and bright. "Hey Kevin," Grandma said gently. "Actually, Grandma and the others talked, and we think it would be more fun for you to be in a place with new friends than going to your dad's place. So when you get home, start preparing for the move." Kevin's eyes widened in surprise. Nora, his aunt, stood up and spoke firmly. "Kevin, but you guys don't plan to take him in, right? Then I'll take him in as family." His former father, sitting in the corner with a smirk on his face, laughed at Nora's words. "Huh? How can a hostess raise a child? You wouldn't understand the thinking of someone with different blood." Kevin remembered his mother and spoke softly, his eyes sad. "My mom was a nurse and raised me alone until I was 6, but she suddenly passed away from an illness. At that time, I didn't really understand it." The former father, still uninterested, kept his eyes on the TV. "TV, is it interesting?" he asked. Kevin looked down, feeling a mix of emotions. "He is my former father. He left home right after I was born." Grandma, looking concerned, turned to the former father. "Hey, can I ask you something? What are you planning to do with that child?" The former father shrugged, showing no care. "We plan to take him in, but about that, we're not sure if he will choose to become a doctor. If he doesn't, our family tradition will end." Grandma sighed and shook her head. "Indeed, actually, my wife was against it too. Hearing you say that lifts a burden off my shoulders. I'll contact the appropriate place. I'll talk to the child myself." Later that evening, Grandma called Kevin over once more. "Thanks. Actually, Grandma and the others talked, and we think it would be more fun for you to be in a place with new friends than going to your dad's place. So when this is over, start preparing for the move." Nora, feeling the tension, crossed her arms and shivered slightly. As expected from adults, "Just listening makes me shiver." The former father turned to Nora with a puzzled look. "Why are you here?" Nora looked him in the eye, her voice steady. "It's obvious to come to my sister-in-law's funeral, right?" "What? Did you come to ask for money?" The former father raised an eyebrow. "Money? What are you talking about? Everyone knows my name in this area now." Nora took a deep breath and continued. "More importantly, Kevin, you don't plan to take him in, right? Then I'll take him in as family." The former father scoffed again. "Huh? How can a hostess raise a child? You wouldn't understand the thinking of someone with different blood." Finally, with a sigh, he gave in. "Okay, then, I'll leave the care to you." Grandma looked worried, her hands clasped tightly. "You're leaving our precious child with someone like this?" The former father waved his hand dismissively. "I don't mind. Instead, I won't pay any more money to my ex-wife. Is that okay?" Nora nodded firmly. "I'm not short of money, so it's fine. If it turns out that the child is placed somewhere else, it would affect your reputation too. We could make it your responsibility." The former father laughed lightly. "Yeah, I guess you're right. As always, you're clever." Nora gave a small smile, trying to keep her emotions in check. "Take care, and come see us anytime." Kevin looked at them, confusion and sadness in his eyes. "Right? How can you change your attitude so much?" That night, Kevin sat quietly in his new room at Nora's house, thinking about everything that happened. "And so I was taken in by my aunt. I will never forget the smiles of my former parents at that time," he thought to himself. Nora knocked on his door and peeked in. "Sorry it's so messy. Do you want something to eat?" Kevin looked up and nodded. "You said you like omelets, right? How is it?" Nora asked as she brought him a plate. Kevin took a bite and smiled faintly. "Delicious," he said. Nora watched him carefully. "But my mom's is better," Kevin added quietly. Nora sighed, understanding his pain. "Sorry, I should have learned more from your mom. This sudden change must be hard for you, right?" Kevin nodded slowly. "As a child, I understood that my mom was no longer here." The next day was bright and sunny. Nora tried to cheer Kevin up. "It's nice weather, perfect for exercise. Do you want to play tag together?" Kevin shrugged, his mind elsewhere. "Things don't always go as planned, right?" he muttered. In the park, a girl named Emily noticed Kevin sitting alone. "Oh, you're not playing with your mom?" she asked. Kevin shook his head. "She's not my mom." Emily tilted her head. "Then a friend." Kevin looked at her and sighed. "No." Emily smiled softly. "Then, maybe we are the same." Kevin looked up, curious. "Yeah." Emily nodded. "I only have my dad." She reached out her hand. "What's your name?" Kevin shook her hand. "Kevin." Emily grinned. "My name is Emily." Later, Nora watched Kevin and Emily play on the slide. "I'm glad you made a friend. You're not shy at all." "Huh? Let's go on the slide." Kevin smiled for the first time in days. "Sure." As the days passed, Kevin felt a bit happier. "I got to know Emily at the park and we became friends, but I couldn't talk to my aunt the same way," he thought. One evening, the doorbell rang, and Nora went to answer it. Who could it be? Mr. Smith, an old friend, stood at the door. "Hey, how's it going?" Nora shrugged. Not great." Mr. Smith looked concerned. "Still not working out?" "It's not too late to back out." Nora shook her head. "This takes time. You abandoned responsibility, so let me handle it." Mr. Smith frowned. "Huh? Why do you look so down? Don't show a sad face in front of customers. Nora smiled weakly. I can only show it to you, Mr. Smith. I'm glad you say that. Mr. Smith stepped inside. Something bothering you? Nora sighed. Actually, I took in my sister-in-law's child. She passed away from illness. Mr. Smith's eyes widened. That's incredible. Why did you decide that? Nora looked down, remembering her sister-in-law's kindness. Usually, you wouldn't go that far unless you had to. My sister-in-law always helped me with work stuff. She never showed a sad face and always said, "We both have hard times, so let's work hard together." She was so kind, but life is unfair. Mr. Smith nodded slowly. True, my brother and parents didn't want to take him in either. I felt I owed her and didn't want him to suffer, so I took him in. Mr. Smith smiled gently. That's like you, Nora. Then, why don't you tell him how you feel? Nora looked surprised. Tell him how I feel? Suddenly living with me must be confusing for him. He might not understand, but it's important to share my feelings. Mr. Smith patted her shoulder. Yeah, you're right. Thanks, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith smiled warmly. The least I can do is buy champagne and listen to your worries. I'll give you a discount on the bottle. Nora laughed softly. Yay! That night, Nora sat with Kevin in the living room. I'm home. Still awake? I have something to tell you. Why I wanted to be with you. Kevin listened as Nora shared stories about his mother. My aunt carefully shared memories and thoughts about my mom. I still remember that day. I can't forget her lonely and nostalgic face, he thought. Nora looked at Kevin with tears in her eyes. Sorry for suddenly telling you all this. Don't hesitate to say what you want, even if it's selfish. What snacks do you like? Kevin smiled a little. Potato chips. Nora laughed. I like them too. Seaweed salt flavor is my favorite. Nora noticed Kevin's sad expression. Feeling down? Did something happen? Kevin sighed. About my mom. Nora shook her head. She's not your mom. Nora reached out and held Kevin's hand. But I want to be friends with you. Emily, who had come over to play, spoke up. Be nicer to him. She must really like Kevin. Nora looked confused. I don't know how to be nicer. Emily smiled. Just talk to him. Nora grabbed a tissue. Talk? Need a tissue? Emily handed it to Kevin. Sorry, your nose is running. Emily patted his back gently. Take your time. Here. Tissue. Kevin wiped his eyes. I want to cry. Emily hugged him. Sorry, I squeezed too hard. Kevin felt a bit better. Since that day, I started asking Emily for advice on how to deal with my aunt. Emily and I went to the same elementary and middle school. Eventually, we started talking about things other than my aunt. Years passed and Kevin grew older. One day, he told Emily his dream. I want to play soccer. I'm fast. Emily nodded. But it's hard to talk about it. Emily encouraged him. Just try. They'll support you. She smiled brightly. You're a middle schooler now, be honest. After school, Kevin walked home and found Nora waiting for him. I'm home. Nora smiled. Welcome back. I have something to say. I want to play soccer. Nora's eyes lit up. Great, do it. Kevin hesitated. But I need spikes and stuff. Nora waved her hand dismissively. That's no problem. I'm doing well at work. Kevin bowed slightly. Thank you. Nora chuckled. No need to bow. Kevin felt a bit distant from his aunt. Still feels distant. Even in middle school, Kevin found it hard to talk to his aunt. Their relationship was still strained, but she let him start playing soccer and he made friends. Unlike the others, he didn't have someone to pick him up. His aunt was busy and couldn't come to practices or games. In high school, Kevin kept playing soccer. One day, Nora asked him about his games. Hey Kevin, when's your next game? Kevin looked away. You have work, so it's fine. Nora frowned. No, I want to see it. Kevin shrugged. Not many games. Nora insisted. Really? Kevin nodded. Yeah, I'm off to school. Nora watched him leave. Take care. She thought to herself. There must be games. I hear he's good. I have to see it myself. Emily agreed. Yeah. The day of Kevin's first game arrived. He didn't tell his aunt, but she found out and surprised him by coming to watch. Kevin, first game. Good luck. Kevin grinned. I'll do my best. Nora cheered. If you score a goal, I'll buy you beef bowl. Kevin laughed. I'll definitely score. During the game, Emily cheered loudly. Goal, Kevin. She was amazed. Wow, starting as a freshman. Impressive. Kevin saw his aunt and Emily in the stands. How do you know? Why are you here? Nora smiled proudly. I'm number 1 here. Getting info is easy. Kevin shook his head in disbelief. Impressive skills. Nora winked. Hee. Just watch. Nora encouraged him. Give it your all. Score a goal, and I'll get you sukiyaki. Kevin laughed again. I was planning on beef bowl. Nora thought for a moment. If there's a conflict, then sushi. Kevin nodded. Sushi? I'll do my best. Kevin played his heart out and scored a hat trick. It was a day he would never forget. My first starting game with my aunt watching. It's a great memory. I scored a hat trick and became a regular. After the game, Nora hugged him tightly. Great job. You were awesome. Emily was excited. Emily was cheering like a concert. It was like an idol concert. Kevin blushed. Please stop, Mom. Nora laughed. You're lucky to have both of them. Kevin looked at his aunt and friend with gratitude. I grew so much. Nora nodded. Kevin, there's still more to come. Kevin smiled. Yeah, let's go. Over the years, Nora came to all of Kevin's games, even taking time off work. Kevin finally started opening up. During college entrance exams, she supported him and he got into his first choice, a low-ranking law school. Nora was overjoyed. Congrats on getting in. Kevin hugged her. Thanks to you, Nora. Nora shook her head. No, I didn't do anything. So, law school means you want to be a lawyer? Kevin nodded. Yes. Nora grinned. I know a lawyer. Want an introduction? Kevin's eyes widened. Really? Nora nodded. You can get good advice. And you need talking skills. I'll teach you. Kevin smiled. Thanks. Through his aunt, Kevin met Mr. Smith, the head of a law firm. He was much more than just a drinker. Mr. Smith welcomed him warmly. If you aim to be a lawyer, why not work here? It's a place for kids in tough situations. A great experience. Kevin agreed eagerly. I'd love to work here. And my childhood friend also wants to work in law. Mr. Smith smiled. Sure. Bring them along. With everyone's support, Kevin worked hard to become a lawyer. He wouldn't be there without them. He was full of gratitude and vowed to repay them. 10 years later, Kevin was a successful lawyer. One day, there was a knock on his office door. Suddenly, they came to my house, Kevin recalled. His former father stood there, looking desperate. Long time no see. Kevin frowned. What's up? His former father explained. My medical team made a mistake. A VIP patient sued us. Kevin crossed his arms. So what? His former father pleaded. Kevin, help me. Nora, who was nearby, was furious. How dare you come now? You abandoned me. His former father tried to explain. Are you serious? He sighed. Shut up. It was kindness. We had money and were busy. Nora learned a lot and had fun. Right? Nora's eyes blazed with anger. That's after the fact. Do you know how much Kevin suffered? His former father insisted. Anyway, you have to take the case. Kevin took a deep breath. I'm home. His former father tried to smile. Oh, you've grown. Help me, please. You're a great lawyer now. Kevin looked at him coldly. Is this a job request? If so, I'll take it. His former father was relieved. Great, help me. I'll pay well. Money is no issue. Kevin nodded. Understood. Let's talk at the office. His former father looked hopeful. I'll repay you. Nora watched Kevin carefully. Are you sure? Kevin nodded firmly. Yes. Kevin accepted the job from his former father. As a lawyer, he had experience. Emily supported him as his assistant. Emily whispered. He's taking the case. His former father was overjoyed. Great, a relief. No other lawyer would take it. His former father added smugly. Even if we lose, blame the lawyer. It minimizes damage. Nora shook her head. Sorry, Nora. It's a fair repayment for raising you. We paid child support, it's our right. Kevin watched his former father closely. Thinking they could dodge responsibility, they enjoyed vacations. How could I forgive them? Later, in court, Kevin faced his former father. Kevin, what's wrong? Kevin stood tall. I'm rejecting the case. His former father was shocked. What? Representing the victim? For free. Kevin nodded. What? The hospital's mistake is too big. They won't take responsibility. His former father was furious. What's this? Where's the repayment? Kevin's eyes hardened. Of course, I'll crush you. Correcting the family's wrongs is the kindest thing. I'll fix your crooked ways. Be prepared. His former father shouted. Remember this. You'll regret it. Kevin didn't flinch. The case ended quickly, and his former father lost. They lost the case quickly, had to admit their mistake. The hospital closed. It was a long-standing hospital, but it ended. The mistake was that severe. The hospital gone, grandparents weakened, barely walking. My former father had huge debts, working night shifts to repay. After the trial, Kevin and Nora visited the grave of Kevin's mother. Kevin spoke softly. Mom, the trial is over. Did Kevin do the right thing? Please keep watching him. Nora added, tears in her eyes. Sister, your child grew up well. Thanks for giving birth to Kevin. I'm truly happy. Kevin looked up at the sky. Look, a rainbow. Nora smiled. Mom made it appear? Kevin nodded. Must be. Kevin took a deep breath. Let's keep going. Mom is gone, but I have Emily and Nora, who are kind like her. I'll keep moving forward. He turned to the camera and smiled. Thanks for watching till the end. Please subscribe to the channel.